Okay, so these are just copies of things that I don't have to sign or somebody else's. Gotcha. This one is mine. Okay. Now I've got a million copies. I think that's when I went to this. So Thursday,
Here, Wayne has
when
gout.
But I had,
You have gout too?
I got it at the
did
show,
it, but
and
he
then,
didn't know they did it.
That's
went to
eating
the
too much, you're eating too much shrimp.
nah,
He's walking from
Yeah.
here to go to school last night.
I went Thursday night.
You went Thursday night down to Lake City?
No,
you're
I
back.
came home and then in Boston back.
I know, this has got to go to Mayor or Terry or somebody.
Extraordinary. I thought I did muscles.
Well, yeah, I got mine. Oh, Vicki, these are yours?
Yes.
This is your agenda?
Yes.
Yeah, this is your
Hold
agenda.
on, no. Wait, I have one here.
One is the,
No, I have that one's yours.
this is the agenda.
There was two.
One should say business.
Wait, unless these are
They
exactly
both
the
say
same.
it's
Hold on. These are both the same. Have they ever been?
Terry?
No. You have two of the exact same?
Did Ricky call in?
It says agenda.
Did Dave,
Notice
did you
there's
give
no
Dave the number?
reports.
Did I give Dave the number? I didn't.
Dave?
I'm gonna have to look on the there's something here. This is the next.
This is the agenda one because it's got our reports.
Yeah, but
Oh, you got two agendas?
I got two.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay, you
there's a
don't have
second
the business.
agenda, there's a second agenda, that's,
732?
Oh, 390? 7019?
Okay, this I want to bring home. That I want to bring home.
So is this an extra copy?
I guess so. It makes sure that we didn't take ours.
No, ours.
Art has both? We have an extra copy here.
This agenda session. Can't you bring
This is
on?
what there?
That's for the agenda session. We'll be live, so, and then I just come out ahead of time.
Okay.
All right,
Got enough.
you got enough.
Oh, my goodness. It's just so much. Shame I can't do this.
I don't know, because I have something, I had something too, but I don't think so. I don't think so. No, he's not phone.
He's not shrimp.
No.
No. He's not a shrimp, he's just,
Somebody let me
if he comes, I'll let you know if he shows up. I don't see him.
That's it? We're going by the church.
Yep,
mark?
church bells.
All right. Everybody ready? Good evening, everyone. I'm going to open the meeting with a short prayer and a salute to the flag. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello? Hello?
few more minutes to sign all this stuff.
got it.
anyway. Yeah. You got- Yes, I got it, too. Yes. Can we get the bill? Because I didn't sign it.
What number does he, what is his number?
Dave has
I'm sorry, the bill is,
That's not where he was calling from, though.
there it goes.
Hello? Hello?
No, the bill.
Ah, yes, I do. Hold on one moment.
All of us have to sign the bill list because we said you passed it to me.
What do you want to do?
The bill list needs all of our signatures.
This?
Can you hear me?
Is that
Hello?
right?
You still there?
Yep, that's it. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman? Councilman, you still there? I'm here. Thank you.
Terry, statement of publication?
Mayor, take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 20th day of November 2015 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Kilpatrick. Here. McGill.
Here.
Melendez. Councilman Novak.
Here.
Rittenhouse.
Here.
Okay, this time approval of the prior minutes, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. October 13, 2015, I move the following minutes of the mayor and council be approved on roll call vote, subject to correction if necessary.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Yes.
Kilpatrick. Yes. McGill.
Yes.
Melendez. Novak.
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Just for the record, let that be known that it was the regular set of minutes, the agenda session, and the executive session.
With that, under presentations, I'm going to ask the President of the Saraville Board of Education, Mike Maganone, to come up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike McEnon, as the mayor said, President of the Board of Ed, also a member of the Saraville Planning Board. The reason I'm here tonight is just to follow up on the last meeting that I attended. We had a discussion, I thought a very productive discussion about the pilot program. I just wanted to follow up. I know there was two concerns when I left. One was Ms. Kilpatrick, you wanted to see the numbers, and Mrs. Novak had a concern, not Mrs. Novak, I'm sorry, I think Mr. Frankel had a concern about the legality of it. And I just want to know if any discussion occurred or if any of those issues have been solved.
I'll go first since you addressed me first. I haven't seen any figures as of yet. I think, Wayne, were you still working on putting that together?
Yes, as everyone's well aware, since the last meeting, there was a convention. I was on vacation last week. Unfortunately, I was out today, sick. Really, no, as far as I know, nothing has been done at all since then.
Okay, that's fine. I know that the council had wanted to wait to be before the end of the year to make a decision, and there was a couple of meetings left, so I just wanted to follow up to see if there's any questions or any numbers that you had provided that we'd like to see as well. Also about the legality of it, has that been addressed?
Yeah, we have begun the research on it, as the League of Municipalities had transpired. Some of the individuals from the Department of Ed, as well as some other individuals we were reaching out to were not around last week. But we've begun the research. We've got the agreement out. There is some issues regarding it. Hope to have that addressed in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, because another issue that I had is I know when things are traditionally taxed, that money is funneled through the municipality and then through the CFO was provided to the Board of Ed. I'm assuming for a pilot program, since the municipality has the statute authority to collect taxes, they could provide that to the Board of Ed without much of a wrangling. So, okay. So I guess I'll see you at next meeting just to follow up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. With that, we'll go to old business. This time, I'm going to open the public hearing on ordinance 312-15, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 12 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 12-3.5 property rental and resale inspection. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman Buchanan.
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Yes.
Kilpatrick.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Melendez. Councilman Melendez, your vote on the public hearing or closing the public portion adopting ordinance 312-15?
lose him? Ricky?
Yes, Lucy?
There's a connection there, but I don't think Ricky hears us. I hear something. He's gone. He's gone? I'll let him call back.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Next item, Terry.
Public hearing on ordinance number 313-15, an ordinance supplementing and amending Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville to amend Section 25.3, parking time limited on certain municipally controlled parking areas in order to reserve parking spaces for the borough vehicle/employee parking from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the lot adjacent to the Borough Hall Annex parking lot.
At this time, I'm going to open this ordinance to questions from the public. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Let's call him back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Melendez, are you there? Councilman Melendez? Hello?
International phone calls are not.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to start over. Councilman Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Under new business, Terry.
Introduction of the following ordinances. Ordinance number 314-15, an ordinance supplementing and amending Chapter 14, Water and Sewer, Section 16.1 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Sayreville, 1986, as supplemented and amended.
Councilman,
Yes,
is there a motion?
yes. Motion to introduce an ordinance. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading and advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on December 14th, 2015.
Roll call. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
I had some questions.
Do you want me to answer the phone?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Too late. Sorry, Terry.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, hold on.
Try again.
I'll lose it. Speaker. Councilman, are you there? I'm here. Okay. What do we do with the other two roll call votes? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
I just had a question. This is the water and sewer rate increase?
Yes.
Okay.
Water rate increase, yes.
Water rate increase. We had a meeting about a month ago, and Art, in the subcommittee meeting, said that there was no need for a rate increase. Now there is. We had a subcommittee, I'm sorry. We had a subcommittee meeting about a month ago. First, let's go back to the history. We talked about having a water rate increase back in, I guess, September. And then there was just a lot of political shenanigans going on and votes being made and not made and whatnot. And we ended up having another subcommittee meeting saying that and at that meeting, I was told by Art that we were fine with the water rates and we no longer needed to have a rate increase at this time. But now, a month later, after the election, we now need water rate increases again.
I don't believe I was at that meeting.
Dan, were you at
If
that
you
meeting?
remember the last meeting, that Wayne explained why the rate increase was necessary.
Okay, but I'm asking
And
about
that's
the meeting.
when he
that-
asked that it
Do
be
you
brought
recall,
back.
do you recall the subcommittee meeting we were down in your office downstairs?
Yes,
And at that time, did you say that we didn't need a water
No.
rate increase? You did.
I wasn't at that meeting a
You
month
did.
ago at the downstairs.
We talked about that, and you said, "Oh no, we don't need to do it anymore. We found the funds are
You
fine."
understand this is an introduction.
I do, but this is the time I'm asking my questions because we have. It's just
at the last
Political
meeting,
games.
Wayne explained and asked that this be put on the agenda, and nobody disagreed with having it on the agenda. It's on the agenda, and it's introduced. He explained the reason we needed the water increase, the rate increase, and that's why it's here. And if you remember, the last time there was a 4-2 vote, and it could have been voted on then, and the council withdrew it. And we had misinformation from the attorney that was inaccurate information, and that caused the confusion why it was withdrawn.
I mean, Art, what, you bring up an ordinance and then you decide to vote against it. I mean, that's just
Which is
game.
my right to do, which the
it's just
attorney didn't
games.
understand that and
I have the
didn't know
floor,
that.
Art. I have the floor. I was talking. It's my discussion time. Getting back to that, you voted no on it, and then all of a sudden, right before the election, it disappears. Election's over, and it comes up again. I just think it's more games being played, and it's at the taxpayer's expense.
Roll call.
Councilperson Buchanan?
Vote no.
Kilpatrick?
I'm going to vote no with comment only because I do have concerns with what Mr. Buchanan is bringing up. So in that meeting downstairs prior to this is last month, there was the comment that there wasn't a need for the water rate increase, and I understand what you're saying now, but I'm voting no based on that. I'm concerned.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez? Novak?
I'm voting yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
4, Mayor pass. 4-2.
Okay.
Intro-
Next item.
Introduction of the following ordinance, ordinance number 315-15, ordinance of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, approving the application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with MEC Infrastructure Urban Renewal LLC.
Mayor, I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on December 14th, 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez? Yes. Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 316-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration to rename subsection 2-49 Media Advisory Board of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to read Technology Board.
Mary?
Okay. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law for public hearing to be held on December 14th, 2015, prevailing time.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez? Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up the consent agenda item for any questions or comments. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda items? There being no question on consent agenda items, I'll entertain a motion. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolution is be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez? Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
We have a resolution to be read in full, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Mayor, this is Resolution 2015-346, a resolution of the Borough Council authorizing the mayor and the Borough Clerk to execute a certain purchase agreement by and among the Borough of Saraville as seller, MEC Land LLC as purchaser, and Middlesex Energy Center LLC as redeveloper, whereas the local redevelopment and housing law provides a process for municipalities and private entities to cooperate in the redevelopment and improvement of areas determined to be in the need of redevelopment. Whereas by Resolution 2010-70, adopted on March 22, 2010, the Saraville Borough Council authorized the Saraville Planning Board to perform an investigation and hold a public hearing to determine whether property identified on the tax map as Block 56, Lots 1.01, 2.02, Block 57.02, Lot 1, Block 57.04, Lot 1, Block 57.05, Lot 1, and Block 58, Lots 6 and 7, collectively known as the Saraville landfill, as defined in paragraph 1 of the property, qualified for designation as areas in need of the redevelopment under the redevelopment law. Whereas the Saraville Planning Board, what there? Wait for me. Conducted an investigation and public hearing in accordance with the redevelopment law and commended the Borough Council in the two aforementioned areas satisfied the statutory criteria for designation as an area of redevelopment in NJSA 40:40A:12A-6C and E. And whereas by Resolution 2010-157, adopted in July 12, 2010, the Borough Council designated the area as an area in need of redevelopment, and whereas the borough is the owner of the property, whereas the borough used or permitted the use of the property as municipal landfill prior to 1983, whereas the property was the subject of landfill closure plan approved by the New Jersey DEP, as thereafter subject of remediation proceedings involving New Jersey DEP and the United States Environmental Protection Agency. In 1983, the U.S. EPA placed the property on the Federal Superfund National Priority List and thereafter issued a record of decision. In 1990, the terms of the borough and such other person identified as the potentially responsible parties therein agreed to implement, which included certain remedial actions, including installation of NJDEP solid waste cap, removal of off-site treatment of the contents of certain buried drums containing hazardous wastes, installation of stormwater control, gas venting systems, perimeter fencing, and performance of monitoring activities of groundwater, landfill gas, surface water, stream sediments, and air, landfill closure remedial action, and whereas remedial actions began in the property in 1998 and were completed in 1999. Whereas the U.S. EPA issued a Superfund final closeout report dated July 2011, which set forth a summary of the land foreclosure remedial action performed at the property, which specifies certain additional requirements for the future implementation of long-term institutional controls, performance of operation and maintenance of engineering controls, and completion of 5 years closeout requirements. Whereas the U.S. EPA Superfund closeout report, the site meets all the site completion requirements as specified in the OSWER Directive 9320.2-22, closeout procedures for the National Priority List sites, and all remedial activities at the Sayreville landfill site are complete, and the site poses no acceptable risk to human health or environment. Whereas the U.S. EPA Superfund closeout report, EPA has determined that no further response action is necessary at the Sayreville landfill Superfund site. Whereas the property remains subject to certain post-closure requirements, including a deed notice July 26, 2010, and filed with the County of Middlesex on August 10, 2010, at Book 184, page 419, the deed notice, which includes a site classification exemption area, CA 1001-67004, Exhibit A, compliance of which is required to prevent disturbance to the landfill cap without prior notice and approval of NJDEP, and to provide long-term protection of health, safety, and the environment. Whereas the Sayreville Economic Authority, a wholly owned subsidiary of and MEC Land, a wholly owned subsidiary of redeveloper formerly known as FG Resources of Sayreville LLC, entered into a memorandum of understanding dated December 28, 2012 that included provisions for inter alia preparation and execution of agreement for the purchase by MEC Land from the borough for development of the project. Whereas redeveloper owns all the membership interest in MEC Land, and whereas by Ordinance 239-13, the Borough Council adopted a redevelopment plan entitled the Borough Sayreville Landfill and Melrose Redevelopment Plan that included provisions for construction on the property of an electric power generating facility, a possible solar electric power generating facility, and other improvements as defined in Section 1 hereof the project. And whereas by Resolution 2015-258 adopted by the Borough Council on August 24, 2015, the land upon which the project used to be constructed by the redeveloper was expanded to include the expansion parcel. Whereas the redevelopment plan was amended by Ordinance 304-15 adopted on September 15, 2015 to amend certain bulk standards for the redevelopment of the project and to include the expansion of this parcel. Whereas the redeveloper and Sarah has entered into the redevelopment agreement for redevelopment of the property and the expansion parcel by construction of the project on the development site. And whereas the borough has heretofore determined that redevelopment of the property and the expansion parcel pursuant to redevelopment agreement is in the best interests of the borough in terms of economic, societal, and land use benefits. Whereas Special Counsel for Sarah has negotiated the attached purchase agreement with Counsel for Redeveloper and MEC Land, and such Special Counsel for Sarah has approved the attached purchase agreement as to form and content. Whereas at its regular held meeting on September 24, 2015, Sarah adopted a resolution recommending to the Borough Council to adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the purchase agreement substantially in the form attached hereto. Whereas the Borough desires to authorize the Mayor and the Borough Clerk to execute the purchase agreement in the form hereto. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that it does hereby authorize the Mayor and Borough Clerk to execute the purchase agreement by and between the Borough as seller, MEC Land as purchaser, and Middlesex Energy Center, LLC as redeveloper, in the form attached hereto for the purpose of cooperating with and facilitating the redevelopment of the property and the expansion parcel and the construction of the project on the development site by the redeveloper. Be it therefore resolved that the Borough Clerk is directed to forward fully executed copies of the purchase agreement to Council for MEC Land and Middlesex Energy Center, LLC, Special Counsel and General Counsel for Sarah, the Secretary of Sarah, and that a fully executed copy be retained by the Borough Clerk for the Borough Records.
Entertain a motion, Council President? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to open it for questions or comments to the general public. Barb?
Barbara Kilcummins, 22 Schmidt Street. I feel like we lost 18 million due to Sandy in ratables. Now another, and I encourage business and development in the community other than residential, but isn't 35 years excessive?
Well, it's a power plant, Barb. What it is,
But-
this is the old landfill site on Journey Mill Road that was a Superfund
Right,
site.
the landfill 3.
So this, if I understand it correctly, this is a small part of borough property that needs to make the project complete. The large, let's say 95% of it is done. This is that 5% that's hanging out there that needs to be included in order for the whole project. And when the whole project moves forward, fellas, what's the? Do you have any idea what the pilot is? Approximately. Can you, if you would, please? It might help you sleep tonight, Barb.
No, I'm just concerned. I thought Red Oaks
No.
and Neptune received 20 years abatements, and I just found excessive.
If you would, for the record, state your name and.
David Himmelman, I'm one of the principals of the project, Middlesex Energy Center. First of all, this is on the, you're commenting on the purchase agreement, but relative to the pilot agreement, it is a 35-year pilot under the statute, and Mayor, that will be an $80 million payment over the life of the pilot to the borough, consistent with the payment schedule that's attached to the financial agreement that is the subject of the ordinance. Do you understand? So
Partially, but over 30
time, the
over
borough's going to
time.
get $80 million.
In 35 years.
Right.
Over 35 years.
Correct.
Over 35.
With an average starting, you know, a little below 2 million, working up over $4 million a year.
Well, the only good thing is you don't have children to educate like
Right,
the other pilots residential. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Are there any other questions or comments, Mike?
Mike Diadio, and I'm the chairman of the redevelopment agency. Just to explain to the council, when we do a pilot like this, and we've been working on this for a long time, and Mayor, you're aware of this because we did it with the power plant on River Road. Once the pilot is over, we cannot tax anything but the structure. All the machinery inside is not taxable. I wish I can get these guys to sign for 50 years at $100 million. The longer this pilot goes, the better it is for the borough. So to go from 20 to 35 is like hitting the lottery for the borough. It's not that we gave them a better deal. You're getting the better deal, trust me. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Council President?
I move the resolution be passed upon roll call vote. And
Oh, I'm
close the
sorry.
public
Close the
portion.
public portion. Is there a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council President, again, if you would, please.
I move the resolution be passed upon roll call vote.
Second?
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez? Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse?
Yes.
Okay.
At this time, I'm going to open the public portion for any questions or comments. Being no questions or comments?
No, there's someone,
Yes, come on up.
not yet. Okay.
And if you would, state your name and the street that you live on, please.
My name is Jerry Sicenti. I live on 3 Singleton Street in the Morgan section of Cerebral. Over the time, my street has become kind of tilted, and in front of flood, it's a cause of serious flooding situation is now every time it rains. And it particularly it becomes a major safety hazard when wintertime was coming along. And it's to the point now where it floods, if we have a minor rain, it floods all the way across the entire street. And it's in front of my house, it's about 2 to 3 feet high, the water. And it's caused personal damage to myself, but I can't even get it fixed yet by my driveway and that, because it's only going to happen again because you still got the gully there. So I've complained several times, and Saraville had the engineer come in and do an estimate, and they found that it was $17,000 they could fix the problem, and that the people that run the town and the road department and such wanted to get the job done, but that the job was turned down because of budget purposes.
Right.
And I just think that this is a safety hazard, a major going into the winter. And I just asked the question, if not now, then when do we do something?
Jay, can you elaborate more on the scope of the work, please?
Mayor, involves some regrading and some drainage improvements in that area. I believe the borough received a price quote from B&W, their emergency contractor, to do the repair work, and that was the $17,000 number, and I think there were some budget issues, which is why it couldn't be authorized to be done.
Okay.
I mean, this is a serious issue. I actually drove by just the other, when was that, last week that we had the rain? And I watched as the water pooled up right in front of this gentleman's house, and there's a
Okay.
fire hydrant right there, too, so it's a
Okay.
serious issue.
Wayne, do we have anything in an emergency fund that could cover this?
No,
No, huh?
I'd have to look through the.
All right. If you'd come to the next meeting, our CFO will see if he can borrow from Peter to pay Paul.
Okay.
All right?
And the next meeting will be?
2 weeks.
2
What's
weeks.
December the 14th.
December 14th.
Great.
So.
Okay?
I'll be back
Just,
December
All right.
Wait. So this gentleman has to come back another week, and wait
We
a
could call
little.
him.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, Wayne, I think this was brought to you, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Or 10 days ago? Or so- Oh, I know, you're on vacation, that's right. I mean, to make this man have to come back and forth to turn around to find out if the funds are available, I mean, we don't have any funds someplace in some type of bond, anywhere, because,
It's the end of the year, but a bond ordinance, it takes 2 meetings to amend, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, we can't do that this
Okay,
year.
so.
You know what? You might be better off coming back the first meeting in January.
First meeting in
I
January.
know it's on the director's list for improvements, this.
Do you understand that it takes us we only have 2 meetings left, tonight and then one more?
December 14th.
December 14th. So we couldn't do it in time for this year. January 1st is a ceremonial reorganization day. What's the first meeting of the year, Terry?
Check the meeting schedule that we have in the packets
Oh,
tonight to
come on,
discuss.
Terry.
Well, I think what you're letting is a safety hazard is now.
I understand that.
But, I mean, however, let's say hypothetically, in January,
Tentatively
we suddenly have
January
money to
11th.
do it. Maybe I could lend you the money until the
Right,
beginning of January.
right.
But let's say it's there, then how long will it take to do the job? Well, what happens then?
My guess is it wouldn't happen in the winter, it would happen in the spring.
Right. So now we're up till April, May, June.
Correct.
whatever. And then maybe I could come back to a meeting in April, May.
No,
or June.
no. If we approve it in January because of the winter, it could happen in January if it's a warm winter.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't, to me, I've never done, I live in my street, people lived in my street, I've lived there, and their parents lived there, and we've lived in the street, and it would never cause a problem. We've been in this town, we all pay our taxes, we all do you know everybody that lives on our street. We've all been there our whole lives. And it's just amazing to me that $17,000. I have that much damage myself as a result of this, but I can't spend that yet. If the borough of Saraville I have to wait till June for that. It's remarkable to me, given that the people in Saraville said that this job needs to be done. Like, they determined it's a safety hazard, not me. But 17,000 doesn't seem like that much money. That's why I got this.
Well, hold on. Is there any other way to do this, Wayne?
Right now, no, and I have to look at the accounts and see, we're at the end of the year.
I understand.
That and the fact that we're under strict budgetary requirements, the way money is appropriated, the way it's expended. And all due to the council, the mayor and council, people can't come up every meeting asking for something to be done.
No, well, maybe.
When it was never contemplated during the course of the year. It just doesn't work that way. I'll be perfectly honest with you, it just doesn't work.
This didn't just come up in the last month, believe me. This has been going on, okay?
I mean,
But that's okay.
the director gets emails now, you know, quite frequently. You know, they want a portion of the resident wants a portion of their road fixed because it just doesn't look good, or they're selling their house and they want it to look good for the prospective buyers. You just can't, you know.
Just for the record.
You can't address every
Go ahead, I'll let you go.
issue immediately, okay?
I agree.
It takes a little time to get there.
I'm usually CC'd on a lot of those, and a lot of times I go out on my own, even without Bernie, and I'll just go and take a look at something. And there is a line between cosmetic fixes versus what we see happening over here, which is in the event of rain, and really it's any amount of rain, you get excessive pooling. I'm concerned for a safety perspective here. You get pooling in front of this gentleman's house. It freezes, obviously, when the temperature drops, and it has been, so that pool can extend out about halfway into the road. You have a fire hydrant literally within how many feet? A couple feet? 10, 5, okay? You have kids that walk on the street, but then we also have the added issue of where the water gets really, really saturated, and I believe the manhole cover of the road actually comes up and explodes. So, by all means, I get financial, budgetary issues, I get that. But this is serious. This isn't just a cosmetic fix, this isn't a curb, this is something that's extending out into the road. And I don't think this was, like you said, the first time that you've come with this issue. So, you know, this is something I just think is emergent, and I really hope that nobody within the course of the next, you know, as the weather plummet and as the water gets more and more intense, that we don't have an issue on our hands. So, that's,
I'll try.
I know, Wayne, I know.
I'll try, we'll see if we can get the contractor out there before the next
Yeah,
meeting.
you're looking at basically the catch basin, the 17, I think it was 17.5, maybe. I think it was actually 17.5. And we're looking at putting a catch basin in that area, and that would eliminate the issue, because right now there's no place for the water to go. Right.
Are there any other questions? Eddie, come on up.
That's Shrek 58, Nickel Avenue, Sayreville. I see you have a piece of equipment under consent agenda items, $27,993.90. Why can't you use that money to help this gentleman out with a street instead of buying a flatbed?
Which one? Oh, I think that's water and sewer. Go ahead, Art. Water and sewer. Water and sewer.
Water and sewer what?
It's water and sewer, it's not it's under water and sewer.
Okay. Why
Doesn't
can't
matter
they
where
just,
it's- I would have no problem recommending holding off on that.
Yeah, but just let me explain. It goes back again where the money was designated for a specific purpose by ordinance. It stays that way until it's expended or the ordinance is amended when the money is utilized for another purpose. There again, you're going into next year before that could be done.
okay, being that this is possibly an emergency and a safety problem, couldn't that be changed somehow to help the gentleman out?
It's in a totally different fund. It's in the water. It's subsidized or funded by water rates as opposed to general taxation. It's not even, you know, it's not even in public works equipment. It's in the water and sewer department equipment or water department equipment that comes out of the water fund. That money can't be utilized for road improvements as it stands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Being no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
Move the public portion be closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have executive session.
Yeah, whereas, Mayor, the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, whereas this public body is of opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now, Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council by the Borough of Sayreville, the public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 10 minutes to discuss the following matters: personnel, and litigation. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of the public of this meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists.
Move the resolution be approved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chief, if you would.
Hey, Dave. If you have any questions, call me. What's that? Okay, any questions, call me.
Okay, fine.
nobody really does. I don't think we discussed it.
it's 10:30 or 11:30 for the agenda, and then
That's much too.
Thanks very much.
How is that possible? I always used to go to church first.
Wait a minute, this one's mine, right, Mayor?
maybe we make it early then.
Well, I have to be there at 12.
Okay, motion to go back into open.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adjourn?
Before we adjourn, I wanted to bring up something that I believe we need to take action at, so I wanted to bring it up now. For the last several meetings, last several months, we've been dealing with the rent leveling situation
Yep.
regarding Ms. Peterson. So I'd like to, I know we have, everybody has received two attorney applications, if you will, in front of us.
Two resumes.
Two resumes, thank you, that's what I meant.
Right.
And I wanted to make a motion that out of these two, between Nolan and James Torella, that we appoint Nolan as the rent leveling board attorney in the matters regarding Mr. Peterson, between the two.
Is there any objection?
I'll second that.
Any objection? Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes?
Kilpatrick,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Melendez. Councilman Melendez, are you still with us?
Must have lost him again.
Novak,
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, call to order, salute to the flag for the agenda meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Harry, there's a new, everybody has a new agenda, right?
Yep. Here, Terry, give it to me. I'll give it.
Okay. A statement of publication, Terry?
Mayor, take notice that this agenda session meeting, the Mayor and Borough Council being held on the 23rd day of November 2015, has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Here.
Kilpatrick,
Here.
McGill,
Yeah.
Melendez, Novak,
Here.
Rittenhouse.
Here.
Okay, if you have any questions on the ordinance, call out 314-15, 315-15, 316-15. Okay, under new business,
Mayor, I do have one comment to make. In reference to ordinance number 31415, with the water and sewer, and we did have a discussion in reference to the power plant over there on Journey Mill. I do believe at the county this past month that there was the discussion about the power plant now actually being added to our water supply, having to utilize our water supply. Wouldn't that bring in additional revenue now for us under the rateable?
you guys want to answer that?
Mayor David Himmelman again for Middlesex Energy.
Dave, you need the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. David Himmelman for Middlesex Energy Center. Councilman, I think what the issue is, and I think if you turn to your agenda, you'll see later on under your engineer's report, Mr. Cornell is going to brief you on a water quality amendment plan.
Yeah.
The issue there is that a portion of the site that the project will be developed on is technically not within the sewer service area.
Right.
So what had to happen is the Middlesex County Utilities Authority and under the guide of the NJDEP, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, needed to move forward with a public hearing approving our application for a site-specific amendment to include a portion of the site within the sewer service area. So Mr. Cornell is going to hopefully brief you on that tonight, and I guess ask for your indulgence in having a resolution passed at the next meeting, and that's
My reason for bringing this up is because, yes, I believe that was cleared then as having any issues regarding like wildlife and so forth.
Correct.
So then there would be work being done by the Middlesex County in order to add that line in. And there
Correct.
was absolutely no issues in reference to that. I believe
That's
that
my
was all clear.
understanding.
That's my understanding as well. What I'm looking at, because in reference to ordinance number 31415.
Yes.
With our water rate increase.
Yes.
Now, that is now going to have, that power plant is going to be receiving water supply that we would be collecting monies from you as a borough in order, correct? We would.
The answer, I think, is ultimately yes.
Yeah.
The pilot agreement only covers the payment in lieu of taxes,
Mm-hmm.
but any sewer and/or water rates under your ordinances would be applicable to us as any commercial development.
Okay, so that would be additional monies that we would be generating.
That would be
then.
additional monies that you would be generating on behalf of the borough, correct?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to confuse the issue.
No, that's okay. I have been reading, I've been trying to get as much information. I serve on SERO, so these are some of the questions and the research that I do also.
Right.
And in reference to our ordinance here, I think that's something that we can even consider moving forward.
Well, first of all, the water, the borough won't be realizing any additional water revenue by virtue of that project in the very near future.
That's correct. You would be.
Meaning next year, that's one thing. Okay?
Right.
I don't need a timetable from you, but I know for a fact from talking to the engineers, stuff, that it's not going to be next year.
That's a fair statement.
The second thing is that yes, we're going to be getting more water revenue, but of course it also generates more water expense. It's water, water, fortunately, we have to get the water to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's another, that's a discussion for a whole nother thing.
Right.
So-
Is
so
the
you're not
county
gonna
picking
get-
up on any of
If
that?
I can just add a footnote to that, I don't want to get too deep into the conversation, but under your engineer's office, under CME, there is currently a study that's been done for a new water distribution system. Wayne, to answer your question, and that study has been presented to us as the developer, and we are considering that now. But that cost would be potentially borne by us as well as potentially other users within that water distribution system. So potentially there's two benefits. One, there would be water rates generated from the project, and two, any new distribution lines that would be constructed would not be expensed to the borough.
Wonderful.
So
Positive.
I hope that answers that question.
It does. More
Okay.
food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to committee reports, Administration and Finance, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. The Municipal Clerk's report for October, the Office on Aging Supervisor's report for October. These are all 2015. Board of Education minutes for October. CFO's investment activity report for the month of October.
Is there a second?
Second.
Next item.
Okay, applications for bingo raffle licenses. St. Stan's,
You want to do them as listed, Mary?
yes, 1 through 5 as listed.
Okay, next item.
Renewal, review and approve the 2016 annual meeting schedule.
All right, would everyone please, remember, we amend these through the years, but overall, it's mostly perfunctory. Unless for the next meeting, listed on the consent agenda, everyone please review. And remember, they get changed during the year for various reasons, so.
Oh, thank you, Terry. I must have skipped right on by that.
That's all right.
What I would like to suggest is our January 1st meeting be at 12 and 1 instead of 11 and 12.
Any objection to that?
Oh,
To the new guys?
Actually, could
Steve
it be?
here or Pat here? Pat, any objection?
Is it-
Where's Steve?
Wait,
He's in the back.
actually, I'm sorry, I would like it to be 12:30 and 1:30. If nobody up here, or Steve or Pat, no problem? Steve?
As long as Steve has no objection. Yeah, check with the
one starts at
fireman.
1,
Steve, any
so-
objection to a 12:30, 1:30, January 1st reorg meeting? Okay. Okay, as long as the firemen and first, Kevin, any objection? Okay.
Well,
All right,
12:30
just as long as the
12:30
firemen
If we think we can get through the
concur.
agenda meeting in a half hour, it's
Oh,
fine,
God, if we
12:30 and
can,
1.
if we can on January 1st,
Why not
we're
12:30
lost.
and 1? That way
Okay.
the firemen will stay.
Okay,
Okay, I'm
all right. Anything else, Mary?
Mayor, I'm sorry. Just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and that's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Planning and zoning, Councilman Buchanan.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. The construction officials report, zoning and code enforcement report, and fire prevention report, all for the month of October 2015, and the Middlesex County Planning Board minutes of October 13th, 2015.
Is there a second?
Letter B, receive and file. for,
Anything else, Councilman?
Just happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Have a safe holiday.
Public Works, Councilwoman Kilpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes or reports be received and filed. Actually, let's see, all Public Works Supervisors reports for the month of October 2015, and the Rent Leveling Board minutes of November 10th, 2015.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
Next item?
The next thing, I just happened to notice that Mr. Peterson just came in, and he wasn't here when we took action at the earlier meeting. So can we just take a few seconds to let him know that the attorney has been appointed for the Rent Leveling Board?
I think he's staying for the meeting. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
he wasn't here when we took action for the business portion of the meeting.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
Mr. Peterson, we did appoint the attorney for the Rent Leveling Board, so that way it will move forward. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay.
And I just have, let me see here. We ready to discuss Singleton? Yes, I did have an additional two things. Number one, since last we met, the Veterans Memorial Service outside of the Borough Hall, I was able to attend with my daughters, and it got me thinking, and I had gotten word and reached out to a couple of people at the county in reference to housing and veterans. And what I found, and actually I reached out to Tom Polando too, because I know that he serves at the county level with different things. I was hoping as we move forward with new redevelopment, especially housing development, that at the county level and at other municipalities, it's been proposed that whenever you have a new housing development, have a percentage of that housing be reserved or go over to veterans, rather than, I know we have our COA responsibilities and so forth, but I think in Carteret, they just put up, 400 units, and they made sure that a certain percentage of those units were reserved for veterans. We have a crisis not just with homeless individuals at all levels, but especially with our veterans. And maybe moving forward, when we talk about all the concerns regarding, the number of students that we have coming into the district with new housing, I think that this is something that's important, and I think that our veterans deserve sometimes the opportunity to get into housing units and stuff around here. So it just made me think of that. I know, Eddie, you always come up, and while I was sitting there saluting and holding hands with my daughters, it just made me think, why can't we do that type of thing here and have that discussion when we have new housing units put in place? So that was one thing that I thought we can look into via Sarah over here. Does anybody have opposition to that comment? I think it's a good thing. I think it's a great idea moving forward. So, and there was one more thing. Ricky is in here, but I'll do his report. I think that was it, actually.
Vicki, would you do you're second on recreation?
Yeah, I'm second on
ahead.
recreation. You want to do it now?
Yep.
Okay. The Saraville Recreation Department and Rec Advisory would like to announce a new event to replace the Winterfest scheduled for Kennedy Park.
You want to do the reports first?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Here we go. I'd like to move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. Recreation Director's Report for the month of October 2015. The Cultural Arts Council minutes of October 14th, 2015.
Second.
Okay, next item.
Request for approval to conduct their 2015 holiday celebration on December 6, 2015, at 6 p.m. with a parade from McCutcheon Avenue to Borough Hall, followed by a holiday tree and menorah lighting ceremony.
Any objection? Anything else?
And then just the report that I have here in front of me. Just a reminder that the Saraville Recreation Department and Rec Advisory would like to announce that there is a new event that is going to replace our Winterfest scheduled for Kennedy Park. As I just mentioned, on December 6 p.m., there will be a holiday parade down Main Street to Borough Hall, where there will be a tree and menorah lighting to celebrate the season. Local organizations will be invited on stage to perform a few songs, and Santa and Mrs. Claus will be available for pictures. Free hot chocolate will be distributed by the Rec Board at the Borough Hall. Second, we have the Saraville Recreation Toy Drive, which is now open to anyone interested in donating new and unwrapped toys. You can deliver them to the rec office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. All toys and donations need to be at the rec center by December 7th so that the toys can be distributed on December 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. by appointment. In addition, registration is ongoing for all after-school programs at the Sampson Upper Elementary School. Please visit SaravilleRec.com for registration and program information, or call the rec office at 732-390-7096. And of course, any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to our director, and happy Thanksgiving to all.
Thank you. Water and Sewer, Councilman Rittenhouse.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes and reports be filed. Water and Sewer Director's Report for the month of October 2015.
Second.
Next item.
Received notice of public hearing to be held on December 7th, 2015 at 5:30 p.m. for public comment on amendments to the Middlesex County Future Wastewater Service Area Map. Map is on file in the clerk's office.
Anything else, Councilman?
No, just quickly, I had the opportunity to attend the Legislative Day at Saraville War Memorial High School last Friday, and I spoke with 2 classes, and it's a great day. Different legislators from the Board of Education, from the county, and from the local. Mr. Buchanan was there also, and gives you an opportunity to let the students know what government is about at different levels. And one of the students had asked me a question about Andrzejewski Drive, and just so happens in our packet, we had applied for some funds there because of the road conditions, and unfortunately, the local aid was turned down. But students are keenly aware, so it's a good day. And other than that, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody, to all of our residents and their families and everyone up here.
Thank you. Public Safety, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Move the following minutes of reports be received and filed. Number 1, the Board of Health reports for the month of September and October 2015. Board of Health minutes of October 1, 2015. The Police Chief's report for the month of September and October 2015. And number 4, the Court Administrator's report for the month of September and October 2015.
Is there a second? Second. Anything else, Council President?
No, just wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Progress.
Okay. Under my report, 2 things. One, I want to thank the Saraville First Aid Squad and the Saraville Police Department. Thursday night, for the first time in my life, I had an attack of what turned out to be gout, and I'm a big fella, and I couldn't make it to the car, and with the aid of the first responders, I said, if I fall in the driveway, call for help, fellas. So, anyway, they got me there, and anyway, my embarrassed thanks to them. With that, we'll go to the Business Administrator's report. Oh, a happy Thanksgiving to one and to all.
Thank you, Mayor. I need authorization to renew an existing interlocal service agreement for the senior transportation services from January 1st, 2016 through December, I believe that should really be December 31st, 2017. It's a 2-year contract.
Okay.
Authorization to renew the borough's membership in the Central Jersey Joint Insurance Fund for a period of January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2018.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to appoint 1 mechanics helper and 2 laborers effective in the Department of Public Works of January 4th, 2016. This is replacing 1 vacancy and 2 retirements.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to reduce fee schedule for the recreation-sponsored program Be Active, Get Healthy classes for the month of December from $60 to $45 to reflect the reduced number of classes from 8 to 6.
Next item.
Request for authorization to extend the Dwarkish Temple's application for a special event permit to include November 28th and November 29th, 2015 for a religious celebration for a visiting high priest. All activities will be restricted to the temple grounds.
Okay, by the way, the temple has invited everyone this Sunday, the 29th. It is the high priest's birthday. So, next item.
And Mayor, I don't think I have to go in personnel.
Mayor, what time?
What time? What time? What time?
6 o'clock.
As you recall, 3 months ago, we hired a grant writer for $2,000 per month. I looked at her contract. The contract is up, actually it was up yesterday. The report just came in today. I reviewed the report. I was going to go over it with the people on the committee, but it was a report that I think she needs more work on. I'd like to extend that for another 3 months for $2,000 per month, if it's okay with the council.
Is there any objection? Next item.
That would be it, Mayor.
Okay, CFO's report.
Transfer resolution, for sure, and the second item is the execution, authorization to execute.
Wayne, is your mic on?
Yes, to execute the limited release agreement between Red Oak and the borough regarding disputed water charges. This was discussed earlier in the year, and the agreement's been worked out with Mr. DuPont and
Any
the attorneys.
objections? Anything else?
The Reds will be on there. No, that'll be all.
Okay, Borough Engineers report.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items this evening. First is the Middlesex Energy Center, which is the landfill 3 property on Journey Mill Road. Mr. Himmelman basically discussed this with you. The property is not in a sewered area now, and they're making a application to the county to have it included. They're looking for a resolution of support from the borough. We don't have any
Any
issues with that.
objection?
So we have that at your next meeting. Second item is MacArthur Manor, which is the 20-family house, the old Sarah
Right.
Fisher house on
Right.
MacArthur Avenue. That has gone into foreclosure, and they're looking to go through and
Again?
resell it. Yes. Bank, there's a letter in a package from the bank. There are 2 driveways that lead into that property that are located on borough property. So they're asking the borough to grant cross easements to allow those driveways to remain. The borough property is on the Green Acres inventory. We were in contact with Green Acres. They have no objection since those driveways have been there for so many years.
Right.
So as long as the council has no objection, a resolution authorizing those cross easements to be granted.
Okay.
Next item is
But
town.
only to that property.
That's correct, just to that
If
property.
if that property is ever sold, knocked down, I don't want that easement to go along with it in the event it can enlarge the subdivision. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I'll pass it on to Mr.
Okay.
DuPont. He'll be preparing those easements.
Okay.
And next item is Town Lake West. At the last meeting, you asked us to review a bond release request. We've done that. They've addressed all the items. We're recommending the bond be released, subject to posting 2-year maintenance bonds.
Any objection? Next item.
Item 4, Crossman Pump Station. We received bids for that project. There was a protest letter filed by the second bidder, so that's being reviewed by your borough attorney's office. So hopefully
Okay.
everything be resolved. We can have a resolution at the next
Okay.
meeting awarding a contract.
Next item.
Next item is Winding Woods Pumping Station. We've been attempting to obtain an easement to build that project for a number of years. Recently, the borough attorney was successful in negotiating that, so we're recommending you have a resolution authorizing the execution of that easement.
Any objection? Next item.
And finally, Mayor, next week, we're receiving bids for the Fort Grumpy Storage Building. So if everything's in order, after we receive the bids, we'd like to have a resolution awarding the contract at your December 14th meeting.
Thank you. Any objection? Anything else?
That's it, Mayor, thank you.
Borough Attorney's report?
Could I just ask Jay a question?
Go right ahead.
Not actually on your, I had a resident from McCutcheon Avenue. I think he may have contacted you, although I don't understand his problem exactly. Something about curbing on houses that would build on Bissett Street, and since we're paving over there, he was wondering if we could do a section of curbing, because the water, because there's no curb, I guess it's on the side of his house. When it rains, it floods his property because there's no curb there.
I think, Mary, there is a vacant lot on the corner of Bezette Street. This gentleman is in one house. He had an issue with a sump pump that was always discharging onto the street, and there were water problems. We're tying that into the storm sewer, but he's also concerned with Bezette Street water crossing a vacant lot that comes onto his property.
Oh.
So I think there's a lot more work involved than just putting curb in on Bezette Street. And since Bezette Street was paved, I think, by the county a while ago, it wasn't part of the scope of work on this project. If you like, I can get some numbers and let you know what the cost
Yeah,
would be
and
to
just-
put the curb in.
I mean,
But it
in
wouldn't-
your engineering opinion, is not having the curb there causing this flooding? I mean, because he seems to think that the curbing would solve all of his
The
problems.
curbing would help, but the vacant property next to his is graded toward his. So
Gotcha.
even if you put the curb in, you're still gonna have the water from that adjacent lot that's running onto his. So it would help, but it's not gonna solve his problem altogether. But by the borough putting in a storm sewer line and connecting his sump pump in, that should take care of the bulk of his problems.
Thank you.
Okay, Borough Attorney's report.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, public portion, questions or comments on any and all items? Other questions or comments? No questions or comments, take a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
When I was looking at this, I must have been. I didn't see everything. I guess my fingers
You
were
didn't have to
together
come,
or
you
something.
could have left anytime you wanted.
Thanks, Terry.
My prayers are with you.
So it'll be 12:30
My prayers are
and
with
1.
you.
We're gonna have a fast agenda.